Right, so the today's topic is valuation of non-market goods and services that we'll discuss. So we'll start all this on the concept. So first we need to understand this statement. Notion of placing a value on nature. See, when we are talking about this non-marketed value, so generally the product that you are getting from the nature or the environment, so that kind of product or the services has no market at all. Then you have to put certain values. So how the valuation has to be done there, that things need to be understand, and we will discuss all those aspects here in the lecture itself, right? So first thing is this statement that one need to understand, knowing the price of everything but value of nothing. That one, price and value. So knowing the price of everything but value of nothing. So this statement basically express that both value and price are separate ideas, right? That we need to understand. Value and price are separate ideas, or the separate concept, or separate meaning both the term has. So price, mostly we are talking the price. So price is the, you can say that the amount that individual or anyone has to pay to acquire something, some product or services, that is price, right? And price is variable. As per the goods and services, you have a different price there, isn't it? So that is price. It means the something that an individual or a group has to pay, right? It means what you pay, that is price. And why you are paying just to acquire some goods or services, that the amount that you are, that is the price. Then what is value, that also we need to understand here. So value means what you are getting. This is the difference in the worth. In the simple meaning, it is a worth, or the value means, as I told you, the price. The meaning of price is what you pay. But if you talk about the meaning of value, so meaning of value is what you get. What you get means the utility, right? Whatever is the product that as an individual you are consuming, right? So what is the utility of that product for you, that is value. That will give you the worth of that goods and services. This is the difference that one need to understand. And value is not variable. See, utility is always constant. Whatever be the utility, as per your own understanding, will be same for the product, isn't it? So that is called value. So there, here two things need to understand. So knowing the price of everything, so that's why the amount, we know that what if we need, if we have to acquire any kind of goods and services, what the amount we have to pay, that is price. But utility is different thing. So value of nothing means what we are getting, what we get, or what one get means the utility, right? Or the worth that one individual are getting. And so price is variable, but value is not variable, right? So these two words and these two meaning also you have to keep in mind. So that's why we are discussing here value of nature, not the price, right? So if you talk about the value of nature, it means the utility or the usefulness that you are getting from the nature. And all those things, all the product that has utility and that we are getting from nature has no market at all. So we'll learn how to put a market value on that. So that's why the topic is valuation of non-marketed goods. Despite there is no market for all those products, but still we'll try to put certain value on that, right? So this is the meaning of this statement, knowing the price of everything but value of nothing. Now then, what is value? So as I already explained you, value is anthropocentric, right? First meaning of this value is, or the first view is, value is anthropocentric. Anthropocentric means that this value is determined by the people themselves, not by the natural law or the government. So this is the economic view of value. Listen carefully again. The first view is anthropocentric. Anthropo basically related to the human or the people. So anthropocentric means the value is determined by the people and not by the natural law or the government, because value represents the utility. So each individual has their own understanding of the utility. So that's why it is a anthropocentric. Again I am repeating, anthropocentric means value is determined by the people themselves, not by any law or by any government machinery. This is the meaning of anthropocentric. Now second, value is the people willingness to make trade-off. Trade-off means exchange. It means if you are uh, if you are buying something, you have to pay something, right? So if you are paying something, so when you are doing this kind of activity, that is called trade-off. Now if the trade-off has to be made by a people or an individual or a human, so obviously the trade-off has to be done on the basis of the utility again, right? As an individual, suppose you have to pay the price, so first you are looking for the usefulness of that product, then you are paying. So it is your willingness, how much you are paying. So your willingness obviously depend upon the utility that you are getting from the product itself. So this is the second meaning. And so this is very determined the people willingness to make trade off. And why this kind of this statement is there? Because when you are going to spend the money on one good, obviously your or you have a very less money to spend on the other good, isn't it? Through the example you can understand that. So for example, you have 100 rupees, and if you are spending 10 rupees to acquire any good, right, so you have remain only 90 rupees in your pocket to spend on some other good. So that's why you are spending on the basis of the value, right? So that's why it's called a willingness. You are understanding the value or utility, and on the basis of that you are making any kind of trade-off, or you are paying any amount to acquire certain goods and services. So this is the value. So there is the value and there is two view at all, right? Now there one argument is also against that, right? What the argument is basically, since we are discussing the putting a value of the environmental aspect there, so that's why if there is a pros and cons will be there. So there is one argument is also there. Okay, if you are putting a price on the environment, it is going to destroy the notion that it has value, right? Because now after understanding the meaning of price and value, you can easily understand the statement, right? It means if you are putting a price, right, it means a monetary value has to be given on the services or the goods that you are getting from the environment. So if this kind of activity will start, so what the result that has been there, that the those services that we are getting from the environment will going to lose its value, because we know that okay, this much price I have to pay this, and if this much price I am able to acquire oxygen, this much I am able to acquire the other services that you are getting from the forest or the environment. So by the time the price has to put there, suddenly the value has to be get the second place itself. Now people has no so much value. It means now people are supposed to forget about the most part the utility it has. They're not there looking for the per price, how much money that has to be spent there, right? So this is the one argument that is against to putting the monetary value on the environment or the ecosystem services or the product goods and services that we are getting from the nature. And specifically our discussion will be on the periphery of the forest. It means whatever the goods and services that you are getting from the forest, right? Not the whole nature we are discussing about, we are discussing the forest only. So whenever we are putting the price on the forest, obviously it is going to lose the value. So mostly you have seen this kind of people are felling the tree illegally. Why they are felling the tree illegally? Because the price is there on the timber. So by the time price has been there, it loses its value there. Now there is no value in the people despite it is a utility. So people are not looking for the utility, they are felling. It may be legally, sometimes it is illegally. Illegally felling because they know that they are able to get certain amount, some certain money in return of that timber, isn't it? So whenever you are putting a price on those kind of services or the goods that you are getting from the forest, it is going to lose its value automatically, right? Or it become a personal possession, automatically become a personal possession by the time certain price has to be quoted there. So there this argument is there. But apart from the argument, we'll try to understand the basic notion of the concept, whether is there any way we can put a value or the price on this the services or the goods that we are getting from the forest itself, right? Now why the question is why is monetary valuation important? See, despite we have discussed that when you put the monetary value, it is going to lose this values, but still it is important to what I'm saying, it is important to value the all these goods and services in terms of money. So what the basic understanding for that, why you have supposed to do that? So first, the planning process, right? So whenever you are making any forest management program or the plan, right? So when the management will be there, obviously you have to make a kind of investment there. So when you are making investment, so you have to do the economic analysis. So how you do the economic analysis? So you need a data, you have to gather the data. So you have to put certain monetary value of the goods and services. Then on the basis of that you are able to make a proper plan there. So, and because as I told you, this planning process is basically influenced by the economic analysis. And when the economy come into the picture, we required data. Fine. And then decision making process, obviously it is also to taking any decision. How? So basically whenever you're talking about the goods and services that you are getting from the forest, obviously, so when goods and services term has to be there, it means it can be quantifying, right? And if it is quantified, then obviously we can put certain price over there itself, isn't it? Right? And when all these two things will combine, then we have a make a proper decision what to do with this forest or the resource that we are getting from the forest itself, right? So decision making is there. So as we have already studied in the forest, lots of process has to, for example, we have a rotation, we have a harvesting period, we have this silviculture operation. So lots of decision making process has to be worked there, and you have to make a plan for this. So whenever you are making the plan for any kind of silviculture operations, or you are making a decision making process has to be there. So without having economic valuation, or you can say the monetary valuation, it is very difficult to take or make a plan or take a proper decision related to either the rotation or the harvesting or the amount of goods or the amount of timber that need to be harvested, or amount of any other product, or if any recreation facility has to be created there, right? So all this decision making process and related plan process required monetary valuation of goods and services which is non-marketed. Then total economic value. So what will be the total economic value, since we have to put the economic value there? So what is the total economic value of a you can say the forest resource? Basically I told you I will content our discussion on the basis of forest resource. So what is the total economic value of the forest resource we have? So basically the two important value in that, we have a use value, we have a non-use value. Use value means the things that you can use directly, and non-use value we can't use it, but still we have to put certain value over there. So what the use? We have a direct use, we have indirect use, we have optional value. So first direct use, obviously all this tangible product that we are getting, timber, other forest product, everything that we are getting there, right? So that is direct use. Indirect use, ecological function. Ecological function means we are getting oxygen, then carbon sequestration, supply of water, then environmental amelioration, then you can say that pollution control. So these are the indirect use of forest, right? So what is the value of that indirect use also there? Then optional value, it means WTP, to conserve for future use, willingness to pay for conservation, right? So this is optional value. Optional means some may agree with that, some may disagree with that, right? Now if you have to conserve or you have to preserve the forest resource for the future, right, how much amount a person or as an individual are willing to pay for that? So that is optional value, right? That is called optional value there. So these are the use values that this is one of the component of total economic value. Then you have a non-use value. It means now as an individual you are not using. See here, use values, it means as an individual or as a group or the society is going to use. Non-use is not going. Why? Because first is existence value. It means WP, to know an asset exists, right? Willingness to pay to know an asset exists means what? See, you are in your place. For example, some is from Arunachal, some is from Simla, some is from other. Now Simla people or Simla student of Simla or the individual of Simla know the resource that Arunachal has, right? And you are happy with that existence, that asset is existing somewhere. Similarly, the Arunachal people can understand that some resource that is available or that exists in a certain other place there. So now, to knowing this, so how much price as an individual you have to pay, that exists, you are not using. Student or the people of Arunachal is not using the resource of Simla resource, and the individual of Simla is not using the resource of Arunachal. But since assets are exist, fine, since assets are exist, so how much price as a individual you are willing to pay to just knowing that certain assets are exist. So this is not use value, you are not using, but still you have the intention to pay that asset should be existed somewhere, that is existence value. Then you have a bequest value, very important, to pass an asset to the next generation. Again, next it means future. So again, in the future you are not going to use that value, isn't? After 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever the things that you are just passing your next generation. It means you are not able to use that value, but still as an individual, willingness to pay is there. You are paying certain price, or you have intention to pay certain price, right? So that the asset should pass to the next generation. So that is called bequest value. So total economic value will be use value plus non-use value, right? So now we need to know the dimensions of environmental value. So again, we should specify environmental means all aspects of the nature we're talking about. Here again we talk about we can make a boundary. We just discussed about the forest, right? So what the basic services that either the natural environment provides, or specifically we can talk about the forest to also provide, right, to the human and for the economic activities. See, humans and for their economic activities, what kind of services that has been provided by the forest. If you specify the forest itself, we can talk resource input to the production by firms. Obviously, first it will provide the raw material, right? If we have to make a furniture, we will get a timber, and if we require plywood, again we get a timber from there. If we need medicine, stuffs and herbs will be there, isn't it? So it will become a resource inputs to the production by firms. So if it means the forest provide lots of raw material to produce lots of goods and services that is required by the humans or the firm who is supposed to produce those goods and services, right? Then sink for production and consumption waste, another thing is there, right? Sink for production and consumption waste. So whenever the production process is there or the consumption has to be there, some waste has to be thrown out, or some waste has to be generated automatically. Sometimes in the form of gaseous, sometimes in the form of liquid material. We have some fluid has to be generated. So now where all this waste has to go? So obviously this waste has to be sink in a forest area itself, right? As we several times we talk about the carbon sequestration. So if carbon will be there, the carbon dioxide has to be absorbed by the tree itself. The sink is there, so waste can be sink there, and this is one of the services that is provided by the natural environment. I specifically talk about the forest also. Then amenity services, it means certain kind of attractiveness or pleasantness to the household. So obviously if you have a house nearby your forest, so your environment is a bit pollution free, you will get a very scenic beauty. So a certain degree of pleasantness or certain degree of happiness will be there with the household, isn't there? There's another services. Then life support services, farms and household, obviously life support services. So if you talk about the household, so most of the fuel, fiber, most of the things that that has been drawn from the forest area itself. So it is provide the life support services also there for farms and household both. So life support basically talking about the oxygen we are getting, the pollution free environment, everything for the household itself. So both the firms and household will getting several resources that is providing life support service to the humans itself. So these are the dimension of environmental value. Let's move ahead. So techniques for measuring the value of non-marketed goods. So what are the basic techniques that has to be employed, right, so that you can measure the value of non-marketed goods, right? And you can now easily understand that if you are getting oxygen from the forest itself, there is no market for that. If the carbon sequestration services has been provided by the forest, there is no market for that, right? If the environment pollution has been minimized by the forest, there is no market for that. So how we can put a value over there? So these are the techniques that one need to understand. First, revealed preference technique. Second, stated preference. And third, benefit transfer technique. Nowadays this is also in work, and now it is also called as the benefit sharing, right? Benefit transfer or benefit sharing is also, there is one other technique has to be used nowadays, right? So first we do the revealed preference technique. So you can go for the statement: decision people making reaction to change in environmental quality, right? So just people making reaction to change in environmental quality. So revealed preference, so the name is revealed, it means the things has been exposed, right? So how the decision has been made by the people if there is any change in environmental quality. So environmental quality means the level of pollution level becomes more, right? More release of more carbon dioxide in the environment. So if through this human activity, right, there is a potential change in the not only the local environment but nearby the whole locality can be affected through this. So this technique basically explore those aspects what the decision that people has to make when this kind of event has to be taken place in their own locality. That is revealed preference technique. Now the stated preference technique is based upon the survey method. Let me make it very clear. I am just giving the introduction here, and in when I move ahead with the lecture, I'll detail you all these aspects there: revealed, stated, and benefit. Here just I am giving you a small introduction, right? Now in a stated preference technique, here the value has to be determined by the survey method. It means you have to make certain kind of survey, you have to consult the people, you can use any questionnaire method or some different kind of survey method that is available there, and on the basis of that you can put a value of those non-marketed goods, right? Then you have a benefit transfer technique. It means which look at the existing studies for value of analogous environmental changes. So here we need to understand one aspect there, benefit transfer technique. If you see, analogous environmental change means what? Similar thing that you are getting somewhere, right? So what the value has to be paid? Listen carefully, like value of analogous environmental change. So here what kind of study has to be made? If there are certain changes, just take a hypothetical condition, if something has to be changed. For example, we are losing certain forest area, right? So if we are losing certain forest area, it means all the related goods and services were supposed to lose there. But now if there is the one case, now try to understand the other case. If the forest area is as it is, there is no loss there, right? So how will create another component similar like that, right? That is benefit transfer technique. So if you are unable to understand, there is no issue on that, just wait. After a few slides I am going to explain it in a detail itself, right? So here you just keep in mind that there are three techniques that we need to understand for valuing the non-market goods: revealed preference, stated preference, and benefit transfer techniques. So in subsequent slide I like to simplify it, right? So you may have some questions, so keep the question in your mind and you will get an answer when I move it to the slide itself, right? Now here we need to understand this monetary value here, right? So this is the difference between both the slides here. We are measuring the value, it means on the basis of utility we are talking about, and then here placing monetary value, it means the amount, certain money we are talking about. So technique to place monetary value on the environmental impacts, right? So you can also say on the forestry, in terms of forestry we can discuss the same concept here. So market based method, and we have a non-market based method. Here we are, again I am repeating, here putting the amount in the terms of money, right? So market based method is production function approach, cost of illness approach, cost based, travel cost, hedonic pricing approach. And here discussing the non-market based method, we are discussing this contingent valuation method, right? So let's start the discussion one by one. First, production function approach, right? Production function approach means this production function means the raw material has to be converted into finished product, right? So if raw material is to convert, that is called the production. So this is the things has to be understand here, that environment is input in the production of marketed goods. So whatever the goods that you are getting from the whatever you are consuming, all are has to be produced by using some raw material. And where you are getting the raw material, you are getting the raw material from the environmental itself. Now if you specify in terms of forestry, so we have several examples for that. If we have a need certain wood based product, we are getting wood from the forest itself. So forest become an input for the production. If you talk about this medicine, so we are get to produce the medicine, there is a requirement of shrubs and herbs. So again forest is going to provide that kind of input, right? So this is the production function approach there. The concept is clear here. First you have to understand this first statement, right? So the second approach in the production function is based on the damaged function, it means relates soil erosion to effect damage, reduce soil fertility, everything. So now we need to understand properly how this production function has to work there, or how the production function is going to help you to place monetary value there, right? So as we are talking about the marketed goods, so whenever the wood product has to be sold in the market, so obviously when it's sold in the market, so the people or the individual has to pay a certain amount there. First thing is that, right? So so the amount is basically decided by the demand, isn't it? So as per the demand, the things has to be produced here. So what the individual has to pay there. So if the goods has to be marketed at certain price, so that price is reflected. That price is obviously that price is going to include all the production price there, right? And all this production price include the raw material, the cost of raw material, right? So whatever the price that has been paid by the production unit for to acquire the raw material for marketed good, so that price will give you one vision, or you can say the one view for price to pricing the goods and services that you are getting from the forest itself, right? Again try to understand. Let me make you some example. Okay, if we have to make a furniture, just take example furniture, so we need a timber as a raw material. So as per the demand of furniture, demand of timber will be there, and what will the amount of price that an individual is supposed to pay for the furniture, accordingly the production cost has to be decided, right? So production cost, and for the production we need the raw material as a timber, right? So now the production is to pay the price for raw material, isn't it? So if you talk about the production function approach, so we can say that whatever the price that has been paid to acquire the raw material. So that price is reflect the monetary value of forest itself. Is it clear? Have you understand the estimate here? Oh, sorry, have you understand the concept here? So whenever the production will be there, obviously damage will be there, right? Without destruction, no production will be. This is simple logic. You have to destroy something, then the production has to be there. It means, as I given several examples, if we need a timber to manufacture certain marketed goods, we have to harvest the timber, we have to fell the trees. So when the tree has to be felled, so obviously it will the result will be different. What the result? We have a soil erosion. It is going to reduce the soil fertility, isn't it? So this kind of damage will be there. Try to understand again properly. If production has to be there, so for production we need a raw material. If forest should act as a raw material, then we have to harvest the raw material. So when the raw material has to be harvested, it means if the tree has to be felled, so what the result? That will there have a chance of soil erosion, right? Or it is going to also reduce the soil fertility. Now to protect that area or that part of area from the soil erosion, or to enhance the soil fertility, again some cost has to be incurred, isn't it? Some cost has to be incurred, which one should not pay if the forest is there. Try to understand again, right? If a forest area is there, forest area, no soil erosion, no loss of soil fertility, right? It has a vegetation. Just make a comparative study, you can easily understand that. It means no cost has to be incurred. Forest intact. We have another area, no forest, no trees are there. So here what kind of activity one can witness? Reduction of soil fertility or the soil erosion. So if soil erosion is there, just take example, if soil erosion is there, then obviously certain measures has to be taken there, so that soil erosion can be minimized, or we can reclaim the land from soil erosion. So you have to incur some cost, isn't it? Some cost has to be incurred. So in other we can understand that the cost that has been incurred to reduce or to reclaim the land is the cost of the forest that is there itself. So this is the concept of damage function that need to understand here. Is it clear to all of you now? So now where you can use it, this kind of, so obviously deforestation, wetland destruction, water pollution in agriculture and fisheries, isn't it? Because all these are for the use for production. It means deforestation has been taken. Deforestation means you are felling the trees. Why? So that you can use that felled timber as a raw material. Since the wetland destruction, water pollution, agriculture, fisheries activity, so you can use it. And basically this is going to use the measure use value of resource that I already told you. It means the tangible use, the use, physical use, the use that you are able to touch, that you are able to see. So use value of resource has to be measured. On the basis of that we are putting the monetary value of the forest itself, right? Now another important thing, cost of illness approach. Again this is another important thing. Through this we can put a monetary value on the forest itself. So before understanding all these things, again we should do a comparative study there. Again one area, the forest, and your house is nearby the forest, isn't it? Certain households are living here. Another area, no forest at all, you can say the town. So if town is there, so what the environmental condition of both there? Here pollution free, fresh oxygen, everything that will be get. Here full of pollution, more carbon dioxide and other harmful gas will be there, or other kind of waste material. So those households who are living here, they have no any kind of illness. It means they are healthy, right? And those who are living here, right, they may have lots of illness. They have asthma, they have some other kind of pain, they have headache, lots of things. So and for that they have to pay certain medical cost, right? Isn't it? Certain medical cost has to be paid. Where people residing nearby the forest area, no medical cost are there. It means that money is saving because of forest. So we can say that the value, the money that has been incurred, or the price that has to be paid to acquire all those medicine or the medical facility, is the value of this forest. Because if forest is there, then you have to pay nothing for any kind of medical bill, right? So this is the cost of illness approach, is basically this, right? Now we go for the point. So cost of air water pollution is estimated looking at cost of human health impact. That can be easily, you have understand that I've already explained you. There's dose response function, another illness approach is there. It means what? The dose response function, basically this function basically provides the relationship between the level of pollutant and the degree of health effect. Try to understand that. This dose response function provides the relation between the level of pollutant and the degree of health effect. So more pollution level will be there, more health effect will be there, and more pollution level means losing of more and more forest cover, right? And more health effect, it means one individual or the people has to incur more cost for their medical bill, right? So this is another approach that we can understand there. Then value health effect based on the cost of illness. Obviously that again I have already explained what kind of health effect I am talking about. The cost of medicine, doctor's visit, then you can say that you are staying in the whole hospital itself, or any other kind of incidental expense we are talking about. You can, and because of this there's a loss of earning too. As the simple example you people are seeing nowadays, because of this corona pandemic, right? People are suffering of corona, they are losing their jobs, they are losing their earning also there, right? So apart from that, if you talk about in a perspective of the forest, so if you are losing the forest cover, the pollution level will be more, which has a negative impact on the human health, right? And if more pollution will be there, more impact on the human health will be there, and basically the negative impact will be there. And because of the negative impact, right, you have to pay certain medical bill and you will suffer certain illness. So that is the cost of illness. And so whatever the price or whatever the medical bill that has to be paid by the population, right, because of losing the forest, so that cost can be understood as the cost of the forest that is there, isn't it? Have you get the concept here now? Then I like to conclude the session here itself, right?